This really is the story of synchronicities, of chance meetings, of picking up a random weight loss book in a Christchurch library and thinking, why doesn't everybody know this stuff? Join us as Imelda Curtin and I talk about business, hypnotherapy, and magical connections, and experience Imelda's wonderful heart centered meditation. I can't wait for you to join us.
And I guess the first thing that I would really, and because, we've known each other for a little while now, but I'd really love to kind of delve a bit deeper into what got you into hypnotherapy and thinking about, the mind and how it works. And yeah, what were those first little, moments where, and I guess looking back, we always can connect the dots, right? But
Yes.
it's like
Yes.
those few things you're like, oh, what's this all about?
Yeah, looking back. Well, I guess looking back from me, it would have gone right back to 98 when I got first. I was always interested in the mind, and I've read Louise Hay books, and, so I was always interested in the mind body connection, but didn't really realize it until 98. And I was having, I'd had a miscarriage in, what month was it? So it was 99, in 98, I had a miscarriage in December, and it wasn't a big deal for me because it was just 6 weeks. I was 6 or 7 weeks pregnant, and so had I not had a pregnancy test, I probably would have known it. But the following September, I was having health issues, as in like getting severe headaches. My chest didn't know was it I was having a brain tumor, was I having a heart attack, and I went to the doctor and like definitely thinking it was physical, and telling him, and started bawling, crying, and he was there like, well, he's really worried about you. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, I had 3 young children at the time. So the pregnancy wasn't planned. So it was kind of like, and I'm really worried about you. And I was there, oh, it must be a brain tumor. It must be my heart. Which is it? And he goes, how long have you been crying like this? And I go, what do you mean? Like, what's crying got to do with any of this? Like, the brain tumor here. And he was there like, I'm really worried about you. And I was there, I've only just started crying when you asked me how I was. Like, I haven't really cried over the last 8 or 9, 10 months. And he says, yeah, I need either you to go on antidepressants or see somebody, see a psychotherapist. So I went and I chatted with his wife, and she said, look, don't go down the medication route, go for her thing. And it really was all that pent up grief, and that I'd never expressed and had just shoved so far down. And that's what was causing. So 6 weeks later, after I had, and I loved how he asked questions and allowed me time to ponder, but it really frustrated me that he wouldn't tell me how I was doing. That was the counselling model. It was like, so I got absolutely no feedback as to, like, I would ask him questions and he'd just turn on and ask me another question. No, I was getting nothing until the very last time, the very last day. He had said, how lucky I was to have a very supportive husband and 3 healthy children, and not everybody that he sees, dealing with miscarriages and that have ever had it. And my relationship with my dad had improved immensely as well, because it was just that one day when I was there and I was stopped, and he was, what's just going through your mind? He'd asked me and I was talking, and then I just stopped, and then I moved on again. He goes, no, back up. What went through your mind? And I go, my dad. I said, I feel sorry for him because I grew up, on a farm in Ireland. My dad would have been, I guess, aggressive, in verbally aggressive, and using language and all of that. Like, get the fucking thing done, all of that. So it was, I said, I feel sorry for him. He don't have a relationship with anyone, because we were all afraid of him growing up. And now, and our relationship, once I had that realization, our relationship shifted after that, because I could see him as, oh yeah, because we don't want to be with you, but you know it, and you're pushing us away. I could see that. Whereas when I went to visit him after that, it was, hi dad, and say, your mother's in the kitchen. I go, yeah, I know, but I'm here to talk to you. And it was like a flip a switch. And that's what really got me interested in the whole therapy side of things, I guess. And I went on and I did a little bit in counselling. I did a year of that, and decided actually that's not what I'm interested in. I read a very good book. It was Human Givings, and it was how that
Yes.
counselling. Have you read that book? And part
Yeah,
of
I
it
have.
was,
And I'm thinking. It's a like, I'd recommend all of the students to read that because it's such a um, wonderful overview of how we sit as hypnotherapists, and that kind of viewpoint of everybody has inside them what they need, and it's about kind of raising everybody up to their best potential.
Yeah, yeah. And I did feel one thing I came away from it was around counselling, that sometimes it's not helpful going back and retelling the story over and over again. And I said, actually, is this the career I want for me? So I kind of parked it then for 10 years and went off and was working and still kind of went off and studied psychology and came on then and didn't do a lot with any of it until we moved to New Zealand. And I would have always struggled with my weight. And I picked up a Paul McKenna book in the library in New Brighton, and it was The Gastric Band. And I started reading
Yeah.
it and started following it. My goodness, this is so simple. Why don't everybody know about this stuff? Like, why isn't this out there? So it was just everything would just clicked and it was so easy. There was no beating yourself up, and everything was positive and it was like feeling so good in myself. And then that's when I seeked out, I said, I want to train in this. People need to know this. I want to do this. Um, so yeah, that's how I
That
got in
Paul
touch with
McKenna
it.
book,
And
I've actually got that book, and it's such a lovely just step by step, different exercises, different ways to do it, and it's all really focused on kind of retraining your brain, and I think that takes the guilt away. It takes the with all of the things that we do, it's about separating the behavior from the person and saying this is something that I want to change, and kind of train my brain to do it in a different way, which makes you feel empowered rather than this is something that is in control of me, and I don't have any kind of autonomy over it.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And so is
So
that when you joined the course?
that's when I did course then. So I joined the hypnotherapy school and I've done a few courses with Ed, who was an amazing teacher. Ian was a teacher there. And Ed, I did courses with Ed around hypnobundance, and I did another 3 or 4 days. I've done quite a few courses with Ed, both online and in person when I trained. So that was going back to 2014, started my
Yeah, 'cause
training.
I used
And
to do a lot more courses back that in those
yeah,
days, and now he's
yeah,
doing the strategic NLP in person. So, if there are any people that want to have that training with Ed, I'd get him now before he decides he's not doing it anymore at all.
oh, he is such an amazing teacher, Ed. It just opens up the mind and like, yeah. So yeah, followed and I guess since then I've had lots of different teachers every year, as we were chatting earlier. We do some training every year, and I guess that's what I'm most passionate about is to keep on learning.
Yeah,
Because when I started out in hypnotherapy and learning hypnotherapy, I thought that I didn't have a problem, that everybody else had a problem, and I'm here to help them. Come, I'll fix you. and then I met Rebecca. She was doing the training at the time, and she was one of the trainers, and I had wanted to do around weight and do groups for weight loss. And I met with Rebecca and she was already doing it. I said, she stole my idea. This is what I want to do. And, we got chatting and talking and our values really aligned. And within, I would say about a week or 2 weeks, we decided to go into business and start up a company together. And we did that and we called the company Clickbait Success. And after a year, we had spent 30 grand in advertising, doing a website, doing everything. And we'd made about 3 grand. And it was like, oh my goodness, I was still working full time and seeing clients in the evenings, seeing clients at weekends. Then we got a business mentor and she looked at us, she said, your marketing is shit. And we had spent a fortune on marketing. So since then, we spend nothing in marketing now. Your marketing is shit and you need to change the name of your company. It don't reflect what you're doing because it was very much weight focused. And even I didn't want even to be beside it. And the mentor, she said a few good things about when you choose a name for a company, would you be happy to wear it in a t-shirt? And I didn't want to go around with Clickbait Success on a t-shirt. Really, it wasn't something that I would be sensitive to other people that have weight. And even when we were in trade shows and we used to do like home shows and that, and somebody was walking past one day with his wife and he goes, oh, maybe you should talk to them. And I thought, what a horrible thing to, it was just, the whole thing was just off. It didn't feel right. So then we
It's
changed the
all
whole.
that idea, isn't it, about where where our focus goes, energy flows. And if you're putting your focus into the word weight, then how does that work with the whole premise of hypnotherapy and, going for what we want rather than what we don't want? And so you
Yeah.
changed the name then.
Changed the name then to Healthy Minds. And if anybody's thinking about looking for a name for a company, our mentor got us to go out to the street and print out the names and ask people. She said, don't ask your friends. She said, your friends lie to you. She said, they'll tell you what you want to hear. She said, don't ask your friends. We said, our friends thought it was a great idea. And she goes, no, your friends lie. Don't be asking your friends anything. She said, go out into the street and ask strangers. And yeah, we came up with a few names. And yeah, it was really, so we came up with Healthy Minds and Minds That Make the Difference. So we worked with that up to earlier this year. We just then 3 years ago we had got to the stage where we couldn't really be taking on any more clients. The end of 2020, this time 3 years ago, we were just exhausted. The clients were coming from referrals. We'd done a lot of training. We were then kind of changed to be coaches, as so it was into the business. A lot of businesses, and they were referring staff. And it was just actually how it happened was that one person, Rebecca had met them, and my client had gone to them, and they'd heard about us from two different things. And Rebecca had set up a meeting with them, and they started their Zest people. People go to them if they want to change a career and they do strength finders and all of that. So we had met Jude and Michelle, and then they had clients who were looking to change their career, but from our conversations, they knew actually there's more than that. We talk a lot about emotions and limiting beliefs and how these beliefs can be holding people back. And they could hear it then in the language of their clients and said, actually, this problem is following you. You need to talk to somebody about it. So they started referring people, and because a lot of them were in management, then when they went into their when they had their teams, then they would refer. Even still, like I still have them referring their team members to us. If somebody is over emotional at work, or if things are going on for them, they would refer people to us.
Yeah, it's an interesting pathway, isn't it? Because like going all the way back and like being interested in helping people with weight management. And then, you said to me before a lovely little quote that I thought was beautiful. Can you just say that again? Because it's
Yeah,
better
it
coming.
was from one of the coaches we had, because we were at the stage of like, we didn't know where to go. Like, we weren't making money. We had spent so much money, and we took on a coach at the time. And he was there like, we can't afford it. He goes, well, you can really not afford that because if you don't do something, you won't. And because we were with weight, he had said, it's a little bit like if you're going to an island and you use a canoe to get to the island. He said, the canoe have got you there, but you don't walk around the island with the canoe now. He said, because you've got there, he said, you don't need to keep wearing it just because it was weight that got you there. Don't mean to say you need to just focus on weight. And that you don't wear the canoe, walk around the island, you just get on with building other stuff. And that was
Yeah.
such
And that's what
a
you've
light
done,
bulb
really.
moment.
Yeah,
It was really, we
absolutely.
could
And
never
so
have gone in to build what we're building now with click weight success, but we needed that. We needed that failure. We needed that because we were very sure of ourselves and very like, this stuff is amazing. Why don't people know this? They're spending all this money, if they just knew how to use the power of their mind. And yeah, so
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and
And
we're
so
more into
now it's more about the holistic. And you were talking to me before about 6 pillars that you
yeah.
work with when you're working with in the corporate area and when you're working with clients, kind of, and you're training mentors in the corporate area to be, I guess, versions of you that can help on the ground.
Yes, because this stuff is easy. Like really, it really is easy. And what one of our values is to make things simple. So everything we do, if there's a word in there, I remember we had a resource and it was like change of modality. And I said to Rebecca, what does that even mean? Like, what does change of modality mean? It's just like change how you feel. And I goes, okay, let's call the resource change how you feel. Like it is changing what you see, hear, feel, all of those inside. And so everything is made really simple. Yeah, so the 6 pillars are around sleep well. So the physical side, so sleep well, nourish well, and move well. Because if people aren't doing any of those 3 things, then everything else around it can collapse really. Then there is around performance, to perform well, to be well within yourself, and then communicate or connect well. One of those to communicate well at the moment. We are thinking of changing that to connecting well. So those
Mm.
6 pillars, and then we have put together short videos for all of those, instructional videos for each of those techniques. Some are between 2 minutes, some of them are 10 minutes long. And then there's a
And you've turned this
PDF.
into an app, is that right?
Yes, so it's available on an app, and they have the app available, and to download the app, and they can just click into them, and there's meditations as well. Then we're also training ambassadors within the workplace to the ambassadors in the workplace then will promote it. So one ambassador for about every 10 people. Because what we were finding is that our clients were going into the workplace sharing the techniques because we created PDFs to go with everything that we did. So here's the resource to go with that. When we go to a resource, we'd email them so that they have that little tools. We call it their toolkit. And some tools, like any toolkit, you'll use over and over again. So not all our clients get all of the toolkit. They'll just get the ones that's relevant for them and what they need. But
Mm.
in our clients that come on now for 6 months of coaching, we give them the full toolkit at the end. So here, you have it all now at the end, and you can just click into those at any time.
Yeah, absolutely. If you had a piece of advice for someone who is either thinking about becoming a hypnotherapist or is on the course at the moment and learning these tools, what would you go back and tell your younger self?
Oh, my goodness. I joked a little bit about this earlier. You know, when I started, it was like I needed help everybody else. And I would often joke to Rebecca saying, I didn't have a problem until I met you. You found all the things that were holding me back. It was my limiting beliefs and my emotions. It would be, and it was during one of my, is to do the work on yourself first. That anything you take a client through is get somebody and with the other students, use the other students to hook up with them and practice you being the client because it gives you so much insight into what it's like for others to be sitting in that vulnerable place and be vulnerable. Like we coach each other's and we had each other and we had a mentor one time. She said, is that ethical? Like, is that ethical? And even our our meetings are like no other. I had a lawyer and she wanted us to do a shareholders agreement. I go, our meetings are not no other. Like we call bullshit on each other. You know, like that's a limiting belief. Where's that coming from? We need to get rid of that, and you need a session, and we hook up sessions with each other and with other people. But for me, I think I was probably practicing maybe about 3 years or 4 years, and I was thinking like, why haven't I like have been working so much on myself? Why isn't it all cleared? Why isn't everything? Why am I fixed? And we were training with a lady, and what I mentioned about past life regression earlier. And she had said, an amazing teacher, and she had said, I went, and she's been doing this work for years, and she was reared in it. Her mother's an astrologer, so she's had it for decades. And she said, oh, something came up like it was an old memory, and I just had to go deep into it and really feel. And I was like, seriously, seriously, like it's still going on 20 years later. But now I'm excited when stuff comes up for me, when emotions come up for me, to be able to really go into them and to feel them because there is healing and feeling. You know, that is how it is through it. There is no other way past it except through it. We need to go through those deep nights of the soul, but we are so excited to come out the other end because at the other end there is that peace, that clarity, so much clarity. And when we let go of stuff in ourselves, we can spot it then in our clients so much easier. You
Yeah,
know, we can pick it up. Yeah.
And then I would so echo what you said. Just practice with people. Really practice as and being the client. I think there's no substitute for that. You can't know how your client's going to feel or have an idea of what they're going through if you haven't done it yourself. And I'm always saying to the students, get together in between the weekends, get on Zoom. You don't even have to have people around to your house. You can do it on Zoom. You can practice one of the techniques. And it's just so powerful. And I'm always surprised because, I don't do it as regularly as I wish I could. Um, but even now, a couple of weeks ago, we had Jill Morris on last week, and I regularly go and see her. And sometimes it's built up to the place where I walk in the door with Jill and I'm like, there, because I just know that all of this stuff's going to be healed and resolved in that session. So it's wonderful. And the other thing I was going to say as well, we've just had our stress and anxiety training weekends down here in Christchurch. We had a wonderful weekend. But of course, during that, you don't know what you're going to touch on. So there is, to be comfortable with other people feeling emotions and, making them feel safe to be in those emotions, and as you said so beautifully there, the healing is in the feeling of them.
And
So
I
thank you.
just love when people cry. Like it is, uh, because we know there is a shift coming. When you see the tears, and I will often arrive at Rebecca's doorstep and there can be tears because we have a session planned, and it is like, oh, so you started the session before me. Or there's been other times I've been parked outside and I do not want to be there today. I do not want to face what I need to, I do not want to go there today. And then that gives me great understanding for clients that, yeah, I get it when you don't want to see me today. Like, when you know what's coming up, or there's a part of you, your subconscious mind knows what is coming up for you. And yeah, so it is that, but we do enjoy it now, letting go.
I always say when my clients cry, and nearly everybody does, it's almost like a walking through the door. I've made a decision to change this, and there's an emotional response just to that. And I always say it's one of my skills. I'm really good at making people cry. So
Yeah, I know.
have a tissue. It's all good.
And that is, you can take it as a compliment because people won't cry unless they're comfortable with you.
Yeah.
They won't unless they feel at ease. They don't cry. Really. So, yeah. So,
Wonderful. Oh, thank you so much for sharing all of your lovely knowledge with us. And I would, Bob said that was a beautiful affirmation. I think it's something that is going to stay with me. And also, I think with you, Bob has a bad knee, and we've been talking a lot over the weekend about kind of connecting with the feeling of it and acknowledging it. And he did a beautiful self hypnosis where he took himself deep into that space, and this dial popped up in front of his mind. He didn't go in there with the intention of, having this control room or, any of those techniques, but it just kind of popped up, and he just gently turned it down. And he's had a really good week, haven't you, Bob? Yeah. Wonderful. Right. Well, I'm going to hand over to Imelda to take us through a nice hypno meditation to start our week off. And then at the end, if anybody does have any questions for Imelda, we'll have a little question and answer session then too. Righto. Over to you, Imelda.
okay, so if you want to take a deep breath into your lower tummy, and as you breathe out, allow the eyes to close and just blow that breath out like you're blowing out candles. Massive birthday cake, 80 candles, just blowing them all out. Just keep blowing until all that air is out. Just take another deep breath in to the lower tummy again. And as you breathe out, just feel any tension leaving your body. If there's any tension, anywhere at all. Just let them flow right out. And one last breath, breathing in. This time as you breathe out, just allowing your shoulders to drop and your whole body to become loose, limp and relaxed. And allow the breathing to return to normal. A gentle in and out of each breath. Thoughts may come into your mind, just let them float away. Now I want you just to bring your awareness to your heart. And just feel the breath. To breathe into your heart, just feel your heart expanding. And feel the love that you have in your heart. That love may be somebody else, maybe for yourself, maybe for a pet, a child, a grandchild. Just feel that love. And now I want you to imagine there is a hook coming from your heart right down into Mother Earth, right down deep into Mother Earth, all the way down. And as you breathe in, you're feeling that love and energy back up. And as you breathe out, it's going back down. It's like a cycle. Just each in and out, just taking you deeper and deeper, feeling that love in your heart. And I want you to imagine as you continue to breathe and cycle that love coming from deep within the earth, up into your heart, back down into the earth, and really grounding your feet into the earth and feeling that connection. Now I'd like you to imagine that there is a second hook going from your heart right up into the center of the universe. And bringing back down all that love that's in the universe, bringing it back down into your heart. And now it's like the figure 8. It goes down into the earth, back up into your heart, out into the universe, back into your heart. Just feel that love circulating. If you wish to add a color to it, add a color. Just feeling that love, knowing that everything begins with love, and love is all there is. Just relaxing deeper and deeper. Adding a color and having it expand around your whole body so that you're created in a bubble. And then perhaps thinking about your week ahead. It might be a busy week, it might be a really quiet week, and you have Christmas coming up and all the things you might want to do. Just imagine with this love and viewing everything through the lens of love. How can you go about your days with that love, that peace, with that clarity, making connections, being curious? People might be rushing about, or they might be upset, they might be emotional. Just bringing curiosity to that. And what that is like, you're just being curious, not being affected by other people and how they are, and knowing that you can just breathe and relax and come back into this place of love. And thinking about everything to be grateful for, all the learning that you started on this journey, and knowing that it is a continuous journey, a never-ending journey, knowing that each thing you learn is just building another brick. You're just building up your resources, building up your toolkit, so that when you are working with clients, it's second nature to you. And then placing your awareness back to your body. Just notice what emotions might be. Just notice what the emotional body, how that feels right now. And knowing that emotions are just energy in motion. That is all they are. It's just energy. That energy causes sensations within the body. So you may have those open-hearted emotions right now, that emotion of love, that emotion of clarity, that emotion of peace, contentment. Just notice how that feels in your body. Sometimes naming those emotions. Then other times there may be an emotion of fear, which can cause anxiety in the body. Just asking yourself, do I feel fear right now? And if I do, where do I notice it most in my body? And knowing that often emotions, like that energy, allowing that energy to rise, are usually stored deep within the body. Notice as it arises, notice what's happening in your tummy, what's happening in your chest. Often come as far as the throat and we push it back down, just allowing it to come up. And just breathe and allow it, sending that signal to your mind that it's safe to feel your emotions, safe to go there. Then perhaps thinking or asking yourself the question, do I feel angry? Is there anything you're feeling angry about right now? And again, notice the sensations in your body. What anger feels like in your body. Just again, allow it to move. And breathe and notice the sensations, getting to know your own body, how you're feeling. Then you become so much more intuitive into others and how they're feeling. And then, of course, there's sadness. And at this time of year, it can bring up a lot of sadness for people. Maybe you, maybe not you. Just be curious and asking yourself, is there sadness? And again, that sadness can start deep down in the pit of our stomach, up into our chest, and we can feel that heaviness in the chest. And again, the throat, there might be a lump in the throat. And we often don't like to feel sadness, so we tend to push it back down. Just allow it. Just allow the sadness to come up. And sometimes you can feel it behind the eyes. Just notice it's just energy in motion, knowing that feeling is healing. We don't have to add a story to it. We can just allow the sensations in the body just to move through the body. Very gently, very easily. And knowing that you can do this in your own time. Just if you are finding those feelings, if you allow yourself a few minutes a day just to sit and check in with your emotions, to notice how you're feeling today and welcoming those emotions. Because when we push down the uncomfortable emotions and feelings, we're pushing them down on top of all the amazing ones, that feeling of love, connection, curiosity, clarity, calmness, joy. So once we allow those uncomfortable ones to come up and out, then the other ones are sitting there beneath it. And now you can feel that emotion, peace coming right up. Just feel that peace as you breathe in. Just notice how that feels in your body. Bring it all the way up into your chest, into your heart, across your shoulders and down your arms. And then there is that feeling of confidence. That confidence in backing yourself, drawing it all the way up, noticing, remembering a time when you felt really confident. and sure of yourself, and knowing you're on the right path. Just feeling that confidence rising now from deep within, allowing it to come up into your stomach, back of your spine, the back of your neck, your shoulders, your chest, how you hold your head, that feeling of confidence, and just breathing it in. And knowing you can bring about this feeling at any time. And the next time you're going seeing a client, just remember this feeling, just drawing it into you, setting your intention for your session, for your week ahead, for your months ahead, and for the rest of your life. And knowing that you can do this at any time. When you're ready, just count yourself from 1 to 5. Get to 5, you'll be wide awake, fully alert, and ready for the rest of the day and evening ahead.
Lovely. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. I'm going to definitely go back and listen to that again when I've got more time to bawl my eyes out.
Yeah, and stop with each emotion, and ask yourself, where is this coming from? And
That was really interesting, actually, because when you got to the angry part, I was like, I'm not angry about anything. There's little voice inside me going, I haven't got any anger at all. And then part of me was like, I'm going to go and find some. And so it did. And the interesting thing was I wasn't angry at anybody else, but I was angry at myself. And it was like a past event that I was angry at myself for that just popped up into my awareness. And I thought, oh, okay. So really, really interesting. Thank you so much, Imelda. Does anybody have any questions for Imelda? I'll just unmute everybody so you can ask something if you want to. There we go. Anybody got something that they'd like to ask or say? Bob, have you got something?
Yeah. Just talking about tears and emotion, and we ended Sunday's session tearfully with one particular individual. I had the most vivid dream this morning. I was sat in a railway station next to an elderly man sat on a bench looking out at the railway line. I interpret that as a timeline. And he became very emotional to the point that he was having chest pains. And the son and daughter-in-law were fine with all of what I was doing with this guy. So I'd been talking stuff through with him, and he suddenly started getting emotional and getting chest pains. But the mother was quite critical of me. Full of beautiful stuff. I mean, I'll work on a lot of what that's saying.
Isn't that amazing as well?
Really
I think,
interesting,
Yeah, how that subconscious part of our mind will often give us those. And was that dream early in the morning? Because I often have those ones kind of before I wake up. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good idea, I think, as well. I will often tell my clients to put a pad and paper by the side of their bed, because often those dreams, they're so vivid when we first wake up, and we've got all the details, but then 2 minutes later it's like sand through our hands. We're like, oh, what was that? So yeah, really awesome that you've managed to hold on to so much of that detail.
So yeah, I mean, there's a whole load of interpretation in there that I might talk to you about next time we meet. There's some obvious ones in there. The mother figure, the guy on the bench clearly was myself. It's and then dealing with, had I re-traumatized that lady yesterday? Had I not done the thing properly? So it was sort of that self-criticism of what was being done. It was too
there's
beautiful.
definite healing in that feeling. Definitely.
Yeah, full of, yeah.
Healing. Yeah, I remember one of our tutors had told us that it was like an emotion would last for about 90 seconds. And I had a young girl, and she came to me, and she started crying, brought up a memory about everything, her child stuff with her about her dad, and did a lot of work, and she started sobbing, and it went on for about 20 minutes. And I was there thinking, oh my goodness, what have I done to this young girl? She was like 14, and she was just sobbing and sobbing and sobbing. But she came back the next session, and that is all she had needed. And I went back to the teacher, and I said, you said it was only 90 seconds. She said, well, what was the sobby about? And I said, well, her dad had died maybe 5 years earlier, and she had never grieved. And she said, yeah, 20 minutes to half an hour of just that heaving and that sobbing. It's just encourage them to let it go. That is stuff that's been stuffed down for so long. Just encourage, yes, well done. Like, you're letting this go. Well done, let it go. And yeah.
Such a liberating thing. I think everyone's had that experience. They've had a good cry, and it feels lovely afterwards. You feel wonderful. You're on the line.
Yeah, we're designed to have these emotions. Like, if you look at young children, they feel these emotions so intense, and they let it go and they're fine. It's the aftermath where they're being made wrong for feeling the emotion that they need to push down the emotion. So as adults, allow people to feel, encourage them to feel, encourage them and to notice what that feels like in their body and to name the emotion. It do help to subside it. Like, what is going on for you right now? What are the thoughts that are connected with that? Because that will often be a limiting belief, and the thought that will be connected to the emotion, because the belief and the emotion are still together.
Yeah, actually, it's a really good point of connecting those two things. It's not just the emotion, but it's the belief that we hold around that emotion of what it means to us is really important.
What's the story? There will be a story attached to us. Yeah.
And we've got the ability to change our story. And that's a really powerful thing too. Does anybody else have a question for Imelda while we've still got lucky enough to have her with us on this call?
Yeah, we love questions. An open book.
No, I've got a couple of nice things that have been said though. Beautiful meditation. Thank you so much, Imelda.
You're so welcome. Enjoyed it. I could keep going on that meditation. And that's the other thing I think that I've learned from Ed. It was that you go there first. And I teach this to my clients, like, you go there first. So when I'm doing meditation, I go into the meditation, and it was really Ed's teaching that taught me that. And when we're teaching clients now in businesses, like, you're going into communication, what do you want from the other person? You want, like, what we want from our clients. We want them to be calm. We want them to be confident. So we get into that calm, confident state before they arrive. The same as, so then when I'm talking to clients and when they're around communication, what is it you want from the other person? And they often want understanding. They want generosity. So you go there first. You go there, you get into that state of understanding, and you get into that state of generosity. And then it's the intention. And people pick up on that energy.
Yeah, that's really powerful. And, if anyone on this call has children, you know that if you go into a conversation with your children with a mindset of, negativity and we need to get this done and panic, then it doesn't go so well. But if you go in with this lovely feeling of space and time and curiosity, then things do change. Things are different. So it's, thanks for that.
We want them to listen to us. So we go there first by listening, be prepared to listen. Yeah. So that's one of the greatest takeaways that I've had from Ed's teaching, was to go there first.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Imelda. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to
Thank
you today.
Sarah.
Thanks so much
Yeah,
for that.
well done for keeping up with the great work you're doing and because the world needs more people spreading this work and doing it. So well done
That's
to you.
what I believe
Yeah.
so much. And everyone on this call, and I can see some familiar faces that are amazing hypnotherapists, and I want you out there doing this work. You know who I'm talking to.
So start
James
practicing
is
and start
smiling.
doing
He
it.
knows I'm talking about him.
And there is no competition. It is like everybody is there to help and reach out. You're getting
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thanks
As
for
I
having
said
me.
before, these are all on the YouTube channel. So if you want to go back and do any of the meditations again, or just listen again to the interview and the conversation, feel free to do that.
I hope you enjoyed that video. If you'd like to learn more about professional hypnotherapy training so you can start an exciting new journey and learn about the fascinating power of the subconscious mind, click on the link below or go to hypnotherapy-training.co.nz/transformation.